No DQ Galaxy. We are live with predictions for WWE Crown Jewel as well as NXT Halloween Havoc 2024. Now, some of you out there may be wondering, why are they doing this stream so early? There's only 3 matches confirmed for Crown Jewel. And the answer to that is next week is going to be very busy. Next Thursday was originally the day I wanted to do the predictions, but there's a little event called Halloween, and people like to go out and trick or treat and hang out with friends on Halloween. I figured, okay, let's just do it early. We could probably guess what the 4th and 5th match are going to be, which is what we'll do. It'll still be a fun stream. We have a great panel tonight, so let me go around and get everyone's overall thoughts on these 2 premium live events coming up. Matthew, I'll start with you. Welcome back to the panel. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you right now, based off of what we know about the card for Crown Jewel, as well as Halloween Havoc, which actually has 5 matches confirmed? What are your thoughts on these 2 shows right now?
Well, always a pleasure to be here. For Halloween Havoc, I'm very excited. I'd say I'm probably about a 9. This is looking like it could probably be one of the best NXT cards in a while. For Crown Jewel, I'm about a 6. I'm excited for, Gunther and Cody. And not so much Liv and Nia. And I don't care about the belt at all, but Cody and Gunther is a match that we've teased since Royal Rumble 2002, was it? Where it was Cody and Gunther in the final?
2023
so
Rumble.
Yeah, 2023. Yeah. So ever since then, people wanted to see that match, but yeah, besides that, I'm kind of on the fence until we hopefully find out what the other 2 matches on the card are.
I agree with you. I think Crown Jewel is maybe a 6 right now. Potentially could go up when we find out what the other 2 matches are. It depends on what those 2 matches are. Based off of what I think, I might go with 7, but they would have to have a really significant match for me to bump it up much higher than that. So Gino, I'm going to throw it over to you next. Get your overall thoughts, and my condolences out there to CC Drink. Gino, your thoughts on these 2 pay-per-views or premium live events coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So for Halloween Havoc, I would say I'm about a 6 out of 10 right now. I'll get into a little bit more about why when I discuss some of the matches there, but it's just pretty. It could be exciting, but as far as my level of excitement for it, 6 out of 10. Now for Crown Jewel, with the full card not being announced and then what there is on the card having been announced, I'm at a 4 out of 10, honestly, as far as my excitement for it. I'm more looking forward to the aftermath of that particular premium live event. Like you said, if there's a significant match or 2 that's added, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, and that'll hopefully bump my excitement. But I've just never been a big Saudi show guy in general. But yeah, I would say I'm about a 4 out of 10 there and a 6 out of 10 on the Halloween Havoc right now.
Sounds about right. I think for NXT, it's like a 7 for me. I know it's going to be a really solid show, but it doesn't necessarily stand out to me when I look at this card. This guy experience, I'll throw it over to you and get your overall thoughts on these 2 shows. Go ahead, and welcome back. Glad to have you back. Audio.
Mute it.
We're live, pal.
Botch, as Noah would say. So as I said several times before, well, thank you for having me back for one. But I'm not really an NXT guy. I usually check out your reviews of NXT if it piques my interest. I mainly just watch the main roster. So I mean, based on my review of the card, 5, I guess, for Halloween Havoc. And I kind of wish they finally bring the other than War Games. I'm not, and I guess Night of Champions. Is that the only WCW event that they have brought to the main roster since they bought WCW out. I think it's only those two.
I think so, but
Yeah.
there might be another one. I feel like Great American Bash.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And they don't do any of those last two anymore. But anyway, and then as for a Saudi show, they're always a great surprise. So I would say between 6 and 7. But yeah, ready to talk about these matches.
All right, so for NXT Halloween Havoc, we're going to just go one at a time, and each person will give their predictions for the matches. I'll start and I'll read off the matches. So we have Kalani Jordan versus either Fallon Henley, JC Jane, or Jasmine Nix in a spin the wheel, make the deal match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. I'm not even sure what the stipulations are. I know they have that wheel, which goes back to WCW. That was an old gimmick they had years ago in WCW. As far as who wins this one, I'm just going to go ahead and say Kalani Jordan retains. I don't see her losing the title just yet. I'll go with her, but I haven't really been following too much. I don't know if there's a storyline that I'm missing where somebody is on the rise here. I'll say Kalani retains. We have Andre Chase versus Ridge Holland in an ambulance match. Now, I've seen a lot of Ridge Holland. I haven't seen much of Andre Chase besides the premium live events. To me, Ridge Holland is much more intimidating, and I don't think he should be losing an ambulance match. So I'm going to go with Ridge Holland just because that guy looks like he would destroy Andre Chase. But hey, anything can happen, right? We have a tag team match. Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade versus Julia and Stephanie Vakir. I say the new girls win. They're coming off being free agents and lots of buzz for them. I don't see them losing yet. And plus, them picking up a win could set them up for a potential singles match against Roxanne for the title. Maybe one of them pins Roxanne. I could see that happening. So I'm picking Julia and Stephanie for this one. I feel pretty confident with that pick. We have Tony D'Angelo versus Oba Femi in a spin the wheel, make the deal, tables, ladders, and scares match for the NXT North American Championship. I don't think Oba's going to win back the title. I think that he's probably moving on, either going for the world title at some point, or he's going to get called up to the main roster relatively soon. And since it's a ladder match, Oba Femi can lose without being pinned. I think Tony D'Angelo wins this one. I feel pretty confident on that. And then we have the spin the wheel, make the deal, Devil's Playground match. What is that, like a hardcore match? Does anybody know what a Devil's Playground match is?
I think it's kind of like a hardcore match. I think it might be like the Monsters Ball match from TNA type thing.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say Trick Williams retains the title. I mean, he just won it from Ethan Page not too long ago. Trick Williams retains. Should be fun. And that's it. That's what I got for NXT. Matthew, I'll throw it over to you and you can give us your thoughts.
Pretty agree on most of those. I think Kalani's going to win. The only big thing is after the Kalani match, somehow all of Fatal Attraction or whatever they're called, Toxic Attraction 2.0 are going to get into a big brawl. Kalani's probably going to have some sort of backup show up, and this is when Delta, or now Zarya, is going to make her big actual debut because they teased it on Tuesday. She showed up at the very end, but I think she's going to show up, pretty much wreck house, wipe everybody out, and that's going to set up Kalani's next challenger for her title. I think Andre Chase is going to win just because Chase U's been getting destroyed by Ridge. So this is going to be a way for them to get back. Probably everybody from Chase U is going to somehow get involved and help him win. Yeah, Stephanie and Julia are going to win. This is going to be the match of the night or the second best match of the night. It's going to put both more eyes on Julia and Stephanie. I could see could see Cora getting pinned, setting up some sort of more problem between the two of them, Cora and Roxanne, and then probably getting some sort of four-way eventually. Again, like you said, Tony D's going to win. They're going to do something to make Obafemi look strong in defeat, and then he's probably going to end up moving on to the main title picture against Trick Williams. And then, yeah, I think Trick's going to end up retaining as well because it's too early for have him drop the title back after he just won it.
Yeah. Now, there was a comment in the chat room that the TLC match is pinfall only. Is that true?
Yeah. Yesterday, Ava sent out a tweet that said Tony D'Angelo requested that the match be decision by pinfall, and that was the request was granted. So that was yesterday.
Why do a TLC match where you can only win by pinfall?
It feels like it's another way to say a hardcore match or to get another pie on that wheel that they spin or something.
Well,
it's strange.
Okay, I see the tweet now. Okay. All right then. Well,
would you change your pick, Aaron?
I feel like Obafemi winning back the title is just a step backwards. Like he should go for the world title at this point and then go to the main roster. I guess I'm going to just stick with my pick, but I mean, now I'm very torn on that one because I don't know if I want to see Obafemi taking another pin to Mr. Tony D'Angelo, but I don't know. I'm going to stick with my pick. I'll say Tony wins and probably the family interferes and all that stuff and screws over Obafemi. I don't know. Anyways, did we get everyone's pick so far? Did we get this guy's?
No, Gino and this guy still have to go.
All right. Gino, you go, and then we'll throw it over to this guy.
Okay. Cool. So I'll just try and do it in the order that you did it to keep it nice and neat. So the first match, Kehlani versus a member of Fatal Influence. Now, as far as the storylines that have been going on, Fatal Influence has been getting a lot of TV time. They wrestled against the women's tag team champions as they teamed with Kehlani. So it feels like they're on the rise now. Not choosing having it be one of three is obviously a technical disadvantage for the champion, right? She doesn't know who to prepare for. That could be part of the storyline for having her lose. They spun the wheel on Tuesday and they got spinner's choice. So not only do they get to pick which member, they also get to kind of pick the stipulation. So I don't know if that's been announced yet. But having said that, right, I'm going to go with the person whose name is announced for the match, and that's Kehlani for the time being. I don't think she should have the title much longer, to be honest, but I'm going to pick her to win this over, surprise person that we haven't established who it's going to be yet. Now, for the Andre Chase versus Ridge Holland has been tearing through all of Chase U, and Andre Chase came back. So it feels like this would be the time for Andre Chase to kind of go over, but at Ridge Holland in an ambulance match, I feel the same way about I did with going into the strap match with Drew McIntyre. It's like you're just too big and too intimidating to be losing that type of match. Obviously, I was wrong about Drew. Hopefully, I'm not wrong about Ridge here. He has been getting the better of them, so we know WWE likes to, give it to the person who's kind of been losing on the go home. But I think Andre Chase came out on top the last time they interacted, so I'm going to go with Ridge Holland. Now, for Julia and Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne and Cora Jade, this is part of the reason why my excitement level isn't higher for this premium live event. You've got these two big name, big signing free agents, and they're literally announcing as recent as last Tuesday, this past few days ago, this is like a dream tag team match, dream tag team, and then they gave us them tagging together against Fatal Influence on Tuesday. So I'm like, okay, I've seen them tag together. Like, why do that? I thought that was very strange. Having said that, they're obviously going to win. I mean, Roxanne and Cora don't need the win as much as the new blood does. So I think that they're going to win that for sure. Now for Tony D'Angelo versus Obafemi, I completely agree. Obafemi, even in victory, would be taking a step backwards. He needs to be going for NXT Championship. He needs to be going for main roster. I mean, Oba's got all the tools for me. I know every time he comes up, we all say nothing but glowing things about him. He's got the look. He's got the size. He's got the mic skills for what they allow him to do. Since this match ends in pinfall, it makes it a little bit harder to predict. But yes, Tony D'Angelo's got a bunch of different people. As far as Obafemi's alliances, all he's got is potentially Nikita Lyons, which I don't think she's getting involved. But she might, because Tony D'Angelo family has a female in it as well. So, but I think Tony D'Angelo is going to go over in some type of fair but not clean finish, as Virtue would say. So, and then we have Trick Williams versus Ethan Page in the Devil's Playground. I'm thinking Firefly Funhouse type of thing. I don't know what to expect with that. They're making a big deal out of how Ethan Page didn't beat Trick Williams to get the title, and he didn't beat him last time through issues with CM Punk. It kind of feels like they're teeing up Ethan Page to win. I think that he can do more with the company, and I think maybe Trick follows Carmelo up to the main roster not long after that. Yeah, he just won it back, but it just feels like because CM Punk was involved, because of the screwy finish the first time the champion, it just feels like maybe Page gets a clean win over him. I feel like that could be what's being booked. I forgot. Are we just doing Halloween Havoc, or are we going to Crown Jewel as well?
Just Halloween Havoc.
Okay, so those are my thoughts on Halloween Havoc.
All right. Well, that's a bold pick. I mean, to go with Ethan Page again. I would be surprised if they did like the hot potatoing of the title. But let's throw it over to this guy Experience, Mike on. And before you go, Mr. Anderson sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Says, put Oba with the Street Profits and a new stable. I mean, I think Oba should be on his own. That's just my own personal opinion. Like he's his own beast, his own entity. He doesn't need to be part of a group. And you already got too many groups in WWE. And you already tried that with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. And I'm actually not a fan of that idea. This guy, what do you think about that idea, and what are your predictions?
That's a bad idea. I agree with you on that, Aaron. Just let the Street Profits be the Street Profits. I'll get obviously back to the prediction, but long story short, I'm still waiting for Ford to finally be on his own. Like, I hope it's not like how long did it take Jay to get his own title? 14 years. I hope it's not the same thing. I just hope so. It's not. Anyway, to get hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
My stupid MacBook. Hold on.
We're all good. We heard you perfectly fine. No issues on our end.
All right, let me bring back.
I would agree that putting Oba with Street Profits or really anybody would be just a step down for him.
Like Braun Breaker isn't in a faction. Brock Lesnar's not in the faction, or wasn't in a faction. Right. So it's like Obafemi's his own guy. He doesn't need to be part of a group.
Especially not the Street Profits.
The only thing he could possibly need is maybe someone to be a mouthpiece. Give him a Paul Heyman or something like that. But
Skyrocket if you do that.
Well, there's been rumors what's his name? Estrada's back. Wants to come back. The guy that used to be the manager of Umaga, put him with Obafemi or something like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of him having a mouthpiece. Like, I think that could work. But yeah, other than that, I don't think he should be aligned with anybody on the main roster. Just let him show up and beat people up. That's all you need to do with the guy. It's not rocket science. This guy.
I'm still here. I can't see the extra StreamYard, but I'll just go roll with my picks right now. Kind of do it on order of. I don't like Ridge Holland on a personal level, but when did Chase U actually turn heel? Like that? That's what I need to know. I thought they were.
They're baby faces right
now.
They're
faces.
Ridge turned on them.
Yeah, after the tag team title loss.
Okay.
A hot
Okay.
potato that they did like 1 week to the next.
Okay, so that's okay. So and he's just going through, and that's kind of weird. Still, I still have a grudge. I mean, I know Big E personally doesn't like have a grudge against Rich Holland, but he kind of took our that's our time with Big E from us, unfortunately. So I'm gonna go with Chase U just because of that. I'm gonna put feelings into this instead of actual logic. As for the tag team with the women's. I agree with you guys. The new girls on the block, they should win this. The established duo, they don't really need the win at this point in time. And I was like, when I was going over the matches before we started on YouTube, I seen this one comment person saying that they can't wait to a fatal 4-way between all four of them. So I mean, if that's in the cards, I think it's the best way to like plant the seed. Oh, on top of that, before it, I'm not sure what episode of NXT it was when Stephanie and what is her name? Galel, whatever.
Julia.
They both put the title at the same time, like kind of hinting like, are we gonna fight over this? So you can definitely see that in the near future. And then on top of that, before they even got to that point, Jade and Perez, they also are like, we're friends now because this title brought us back together. But I mean, we know every time a title that's not the tag titles is involved, eventually they're going to break up. So that's going to be on the horizon. So like I said, the new duo, they're going to win this one. As for Tony versus Obadiah, I'm going to go with Tony because at the end of guess it was this week's NXT or last week's NXT episode. The family got destroyed by him. So obviously Vince McMahon's booking is still there. Like, hey, the winner usually looks like a loser on a go home show. So we're gonna just stick with that. Not all the time, but I would say like an 80% chance that's usually how it goes. And then last but not least, Trick versus Paige. I want Paige to win only because Trick reminds me of my neighbor, and I really hate my neighbor. So again, another match I'm going to go with emotion over logic. But because he just got it back, it's kind of stupid for them to just do. I do like the good old days of hot potato and titles. I'm like a very small vocal minority about that being in the stars, but it's gonna be Trick Williams keeping this title, even though I want Paige to keep it or Paige to get it. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you for the picks, and we all good. Everybody's said their piece on NXT. All right, let's move on to WWE Crown Jewel, and we'll talk about the whopping 3 matches that we have confirmed for the show. We may speculate at the end on additional matches, but first we are going to talk about this match: Seth Freakin Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed. This is a chance for Seth Rollins to get revenge. Now, at first I thought, you know what? Seth Rollins is just going to beat him. This is a guy for Seth Rollins to run through before WrestleMania and CM Punk. But at the same time, we still have a couple months away until Royal Rumble season. And I feel like they should probably let this feud play out for a little bit. In that case, I think it's better for Bronson Reed to win and let Seth Rollins face him in a rematch and win the feud, but give Bronson Reed a win. They've done so good now with Bronson Reed, building him up and making him a credible force in WWE. I hate to see Bronson Reed lose this match and then WWE either just books a rematch regardless or just has Seth Rollins move on to something else right away. I'd like to see Bronson Reed win this, and then maybe Rollins wins a rematch. They could save it for Saturday night's main event or even Royal Rumble. But eventually Seth Rollins will win the feud, and then they'll set up CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for WrestleMania. I'm going to go with Bronson Reed to pull off the win. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Seth Rollins just beats him and that's that. I mean, it wouldn't shock me, but I feel like that would be a real injustice to Bronson Reed after all the work WWE has put into pushing him. So this guy, I'll go over to you now. back to you with your thoughts on this match.
Stole my pick. Yes, I'm going with the big. Who was it? Big Bronson Reed for this one. Yeah, they've been pushing him the last 2 months or whatever. I've always liked Bronson Reed ever since he got up to the main roster. So I mean, I'm pulling for him for this one. Seth doesn't really need it. He's at this point in his career where he his name brings value. Title doesn't really bring value. I'm not going to say go on all L's, but just he doesn't really need this. They need to build up Bronson Reed. You need the next generation. I'm not sure how old Bronson Reed is, but I mean, I'm sure he's younger than Seth. So, yeah, Bronson should take home this victory and keep his momentum going. Hopeful. I forgot, SmackDown or Raw? I can't remember which one he's on.
Raw.
Okay. So maybe a IC title sometime next year. If he's booked strong enough, keep him strong. Don't turn him to a comedy act. That's the only thing I'm afraid of whenever they have the monsters. They go through a tear for a while and then they say, oh, well, I mean, you got to the top of the mountain now. Just do comedy act for the rest of your career. So, yep, going with Bronson.
Yeah, it's a new era too. You got to keep that in mind. So Triple H has really gone to bat for Bronson Reed, brought him back after Reed got fired, and Reed has been pushed. I could see him picking up the win here as a Triple H project. Gino, what do you think?
Yeah, I like where both your guys' heads are at with this. I'm really happy that this match is on the card. I thought that the build-up, at least as far as much as we've got between Seth costing him the last Monster Standing match, and then their brawls back and forth all night on the 2-hour Raw, they got so much TV time to just fight each other backstage. And I like how Adam Pearce was like, "You didn't think I would just give you what you want? Because I would. Let's go. You guys are going to go at it." You mentioned an injustice against Bronson Reed. And the first thing that came to my mind was him not being in the Elimination Chamber in Australia, where he's from. So let's hope that they right the wrong of that injustice by not letting Seth go over him here. I would argue Seth shouldn't even win the feud if they continue at more matches. Like you said, Bronson's been built up. He's finally on people. He's a heel, but people are chanting one more time when he's doing the tsunami. And I listened to him on a podcast recently, and he mentioned that the original call was for to do 2 or 3 to Seth, but he just kind of kept going with it in the ring in the moment because he was feeling the heat of the crowd, and Seth was okaying it until it got out of hand. But I think that that's just the sign of a good worker. I think that's something that Triple H respects and appreciates. I think that's something Seth Rollins respects and appreciates. So I could see Bronson going over in as decisive as a fashion as you can against a guy like Seth Rollins. But like you said, I also wouldn't be surprised if Seth won because it's Seth. But it should be Bronson. It better be Bronson. And I just think he's got all the tools. He can talk. His theme music slaps, and he's got a different look to his jump off the top rope against something he talked about in a podcast where he does that intentionally. At first, I think he was afraid to jump. I'm like, it looks like he's scared, but no, he's doing that on purpose as a fluid motion. And I was looking for it when he jumped off of the barricade on Monday. I was like, is he going to do a standing or is he going to do his little fluid motion? He did the fluid motion again. I just respect a worker who has their thing and doesn't forget to do it. And I just think Bronson's going to win this match.
All right, there you go. So far 3 for Bronson. Matthew, will you be 4 for Bronson?
I mean, it's hard to argue. Bronson Reed, even in defeat, he's looked insanely strong. I wish he was winning more matches. I'm kind of disappointed he didn't win the feud with Braun, but I kind of like the fact that I'm getting a lot of the Braun Strowman when he first broke free of the Wyatt family and just started destroying everything vibe, flipping over vehicles, destroying Roman Reigns, things like that. And I'm getting a lot of that from Bronson Reed right now. And I'm really enjoying that. And it's a huge change from, a year ago when he was losing every match, was in 4 or 5 triple threat IC titles and was the one that took the fall every time.
Yep.
I'd love to see him Braun Breaker just won the title back, but Bronson Reed's another guy that I'd love to see holding up that IC title within the next year or two. And yeah, he's got to win this match. And I kind of agree with Gino. He needs to win the feud, but I think Seth is probably going to end up winning the feud. But yeah, he's got to look strong. He's got to look dominant, and Seth is going to put him over. Yeah, he needs to look like Doomsday. He needs to be right now. He needs to be Seth's Doomsday. He needs to just be this unstoppable monster that Seth just can't seem to overcome.
Sounds pretty good to me, but yeah, I do think that Rollins will win the feud just because of the fact that they want to build him up for WrestleMania and CM Punk. But yeah, we'll see if this feud can last a little bit. Maybe Bronson Reed picks up a win, and then Rollins gets his payback at some point. This guy.
So I've only seen like the paper because I don't have cable or whatever. So I usually just watch the pay-per-views and some of the and obviously your review to keep up with everything. How good is he on the mic? I was gonna watch the Chris Van Fleet interview with him on it that came out I think last week, but I have other stuff.
That was the one I was talking about. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I overheard. But is he really good on the mic? Like, do you think he can sustain like a long monthly feud with Seth?
He's solid.
Okay. A lot of it's backstage. They don't really give him like a mic in the ring. I feel like too much. He's usually just dominating, but he doesn't seem to stumble over his words. He seems to deliver it in a good cadence. So yeah, it's pretty solid.
Oh. All right. Fingers crossed, Bronson's future.
Yes. Yeah, I mean he's one of those guys where he lets his action do the talking,
Well, one little side note, Bronson Reed does have one impressive win outside the WWE. He's beat Okada in New Japan.
There you go.
So, there are reasons to get behind him.
Yeah, he's no scrub. All right, guys, let's talk about the first of the two Crown Jewel Championship matches. Champion versus champion, brand supremacy. We have the WWE Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan, versus the WWE Women's Champion, Nia Jax. And the winner gets this prestigious Crown Jewel Championship, which will not be defended for a full year. It's literally just, hey, we're going to Saudi Arabia. We got to have something that's on the line. Saudi Arabia pays millions and millions of dollars for all these shows. WWE's making a fortune, and this is what we got. Shout out to Mr. Anderson. And Mr. Anderson, I'll get to your other main event super chat here in just a few minutes. Thank you for the super chats. Mr. Anderson says, Liv Morgan wins the match against Nia Jax, but does Tiffany Stratton cash in? So as we do for every predictions video, in addition to your prediction for the match, you'll also be predicting, will Tiffany cash in Money in the Bank officially, meaning she turns in the briefcase. She can no longer use the briefcase after Crown Jewel. Yes or no on that, plus the winner of the match. So, Gino, I'm going to throw it over to you first on this one and let you kick us off. I mean, I think they're definitely going to tease something with Tiffany, but will they actually pull the trigger on it? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, so I'm going to get to the potential cash in here at the end. So first things first, these two matches, both of them are, essentially like you've said in your reviews that it's like the traditional Survivor Series where they put the champions against the champions, or Night of Champions when they did that, like however they want to do it. And the story's kind of lacking. But this one actually hasn't really been lacking. You've had them go to both shows and they're getting involved with their stuff. And there's actually a little bit of build for this. In no universe with the title not on the line should I see Nia Jax like losing clean to Liv Morgan. Like it's like one of those things where like Goldberg's like, if I could throw this person into the second row, like why should they be beating me? Obviously, Liv has the help from Dominic and from,
Raquel.
Can't remember her name, Raquel. There's so many R's. I was thinking Roxanne's, and I'm like, what do I do? So Raquel, so she's got that. I do believe that Liv, for the story, should probably be winning the match to allow maybe a more comfortable cash in from Tiffany. But I think Nia wins the match, gets jumped. Tiffany comes out to make the save and cashes in on her.
Oh, so you're predicting a cash in?
I think she's going to cash in. Whether she wins, I mean, she has to win. Tiffany's is just every time she is in a match, she like shows up and shows out. I think back to the Elimination Chamber. I think back to her match. I think she was still in NXT at the time against Becky Lynch. Like, she's just impressive, and she's been losing a lot lately. And we know that usually leads a Money in the Bank cash-in victory when they're losing a whole bunch coming into that. She lost to Naomi. I can't remember if she lost a tag match or not, but it just feels like it's about time for that. I don't know why you would waste it in Saudi Arabia, but again, you've got the two champions, the opportunity for at least a tease. Like, there's no way they don't at least tease it with both champions in the ring at the same time. The only Money in the Bank briefcase we got this year so far. Yeah, so that's what I'm going. Nia wins, gets beat down. Tiffany comes in, cashes in, and she's going to win it.
Wow, I actually don't think that's a bad prediction there. I actually feel kind of the same way as you. Like, I'll get to my prediction in just a moment. This guy wanted to throw in his $2 super chat, so thank you for that. Says, sorry, the little person in the back is my little clone. There you go. All good, this guy. Feel free to have a little guest on. We don't mind. It's all in good fun. We have cats on here sometimes. I mean, we're always open to having family on, so bring anybody you want on. It's all good.
It wouldn't be a no DQ video without at least one super chat from the This Guy experience. So
exactly.
I love that.
So thank you for that. This guy. On that note, we'll throw it over to you now, and then I'll give my thoughts. Go ahead.
All right, and thank you, Gino, and obviously Aaron. So for this one, Gino's actually right. Like, it's kind of dumb for Liv to beat Nia. Like, there's no way other than this special event for Liv to beat her. Like, I'm still like having flashbacks to back when she cashed in the first time to win the championship on Ronda Rousey. And I'm like, what? How did? Okay, and then they booked her like a fluke for I forget how long it was, like a couple of months or whatever. So no offense, and also my TJS moment. I like that graphic with both those ladies. They're looking really good. It's easy. Like, Liv got this. She already has too many people. She has the entire Judgment Day to help her out on this match, which I don't think they'll be used to the fullest, unless we have one of those overbooked situations where Ripley comes out to help Nia, which that would be a very interesting thing to see. But ultimately, Liv's taking this. And no, I don't think any cash in. I still say what I said before. Tiffany got the briefcase. I don't want to see her be champion until 2025. It just doesn't. I actually think she should have won the briefcase next year instead of this year. I think they're booking her too strong, too fast. And understandably, don't call me any names, whatever, but we know females' athletic life it's way shorter than men's lives. So I understand at the same time why there's like, okay, well, let's book her now. But I still think they should have just waited until next year to get her the briefcase. But anyway, that's all I'm saying.
I saw a hand.
Yeah, my clone. Get over. Come here. Gosh. Sorry. Yeah, my clone. She won't leave me alone. If you see my hand doing hand gestures like a few minutes ago, I was trying to shoo her away, but she just won't leave me alone. But anyway, just go play in the corner. Just go.
WWE fan or no?
Yeah, she actually calls WWE Championship, and we had to tell her multiple times like it's WWE, AEW, blah blah. But she just continuously calls it championship. Her favorite depends on the week. It used to be Bianca Belair, so my little sister got her a Bianca action figure like 2 Christmases ago, and then I think she like Drew McIntyre for a short period of time. So it depends. I'm just glad she doesn't like John Cena from his Super Cena days. That's I'm glad she does it. That's what like. I would be very angry if she did. But anyway, sorry. Take up time. Go ahead. Go, guys.
All right. So I think Nia's gonna win. There might be interference from both sides. Tiffany helps out, and then maybe Raquel interferes, but ultimately Nia will win. But then after the match, I think Bayley might show up and lay out Nia Jax. So both Liv Morgan and Nia Jax are down on the mat, and Tiffany Stratton's there with the briefcase. So Nia's going to say, yeah, cash it in. But then Bayley wallops Nia from behind. Then both Nia and Liv are down. Tiffany has the briefcase, and then she decides, well, Nia just got hit. So she's the one who just was freshly knocked out cold. She cashes in and pins Nia Jax to win the title. So yeah, I say we get the cash in on this show. That's what I think is going to happen. Nia wins, and then we get the cash in, and Tiffany wins the title. We get Tiffy time, and she's going to be in trouble because a very angry Nia Jax is going to be coming for her. Matthew, what do you think?
I disagree on the cash in. I think Nia's going to win. I'm wondering if Rhea will be involved. We know that Raquel's probably going to be there to neutralize Tiffany. Dom's probably going to get involved in some way. But part of the reason I also don't think Tiffany is cashing in yet is because of the looming queen that still has yet to return. And I still stand on the hill that if you want to put Tiffany over, she needs to cash in on Charlotte. And we know Charlotte's coming back, and we know Charlotte's going to get a title shot with Nia, and we know Charlotte's going to win because it's Charlotte. But if you want to put Tiffany over, you have Tiffany finally cash in on Charlotte and have that, and then eventually probably have Tiffany and Charlotte at Mania, and Tiffany goes over clean. At least that's my idea. But yeah, I don't think Tiffany's winning, and I think Nia's gonna retain because as much as I love Liv and everything, it's kind of weird to have her beat Nia.
You know what? I'm going to change my mind on Tiffany. I'm going to say no. I'm changing my mind. I think you're right about Charlotte. Oh, are you guys changing too? Are we all going to change? All right. Who had their hand up first? All right. Go, this guy.
No, you just got me. That's what you. So Matthew, then we get you like 5
You're
seconds.
like TJS here with the giggling.
Oh, because you kill you.
The TJS guy experience.
Oh man, that's a good compliment actually. Like TGS is like my favorite. All right, so Matthew, my only issue, and it kind of goes back to what Aaron said like a couple of panels ago, or panels, whatever. Like this is Triple H's like version of WWE, and they've done the Charlotte wins the championship, yay! Cash in out of nowhere like 3 times already. I might be over exaggerating. It might be 2, but they've done it too many times at this point in time. I don't think Triple H is going to book it that way. I'm still standing by no cash in this time. I believe sometime the first quarter of next year, but it's too many times. Like we already know, like more than likely she's going to get the title shot when she gets back, but I don't think it's going to be, I got my title back, 14 or 15. Yay, I'm going to walk around. Oh, spare TV or TV time hits you with the briefcase. I don't think that's going to happen this time. I'm sorry. It's too many times they've done that.
All right, Gino, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I was cheesing out so hard with your prediction, Aaron, about both the girls are knocked out, and then you hear it's Tiffy time. And bro, when wrestling is like good with that soap opera stuff, man, it is the best thing in the world. Like John Oliver said, man, when it's hit, like, man, like, can we just watch this pay-per-view right now? Now somebody put in the chat, you posted up on the screen. Sorry, I didn't see who it was, but it almost makes me want to not call in the cash in because like, are they going to do some type of belt ceremony or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
how will
I
that
was
get
thinking
involved? Like, I don't know. It feels weird, but I don't know. Is this the most anticipated match on the card so far? Like, that's, I mean, that's just, man, I just thinking about all the things that could happen with this match and the cash. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm glad when they have this looming Money in the Bank. A lot of people thought Drew McIntyre's win and then cash in later that night was kind of a waste, but obviously
Yes.
they didn't want that looming. So I get it. But like, this is so fun. Like, this is what makes wrestling just fire on all cylinders. So I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely, 100%. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fun match just to see what happens with the potential cash in. But yeah, you're right. They might just end up having a ceremony afterwards, and they don't want all the shenanigans to get in the way of that. So yeah, I'm gonna say no. But watch, this will be the time that they do that exact scenario that I played out. But I'm already losing the predictions anyway, so whatever at this point.
I would say though, if Tiffany doesn't come out with Nia, that's like a surefire. Like, you're gonna hear it's Tiffy time at some point when they're down, and like you'll know in the moment. I always look, is she coming out with Nia? If not, well, you're gonna hear her music herself. It's such a good start to her song too. I'm not the biggest fan of her song, but like you hear that and the crowd's just like ready to go. They're booking the heck out of this. I love it so much.
All right, let's get to the main event of the evening, and I presume it will be the main event of the show because it is WWE World Heavyweight Champion versus the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Now, this match I am looking forward to. They had their little confrontation at the Royal Rumble the other year, but I really don't think either guy should be taking a loss at this point. I think Cody can get away more with a loss than Gunther at this point. So I am going to say Gunther beats Cody here. And I do want to get to this super chat from Mr. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Says, does KO cost Cody the crown jewel title? This is what I think is going to happen. I think Kevin Owens will ultimately interfere and cost Cody the match. So Cody doesn't lose cleanly. He gets screwed, and Gunther wins, and Gunther becomes the crown jewel champion, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen via interference from Cody Rhodes. We have the match where Gunther wins, and I agree with Sean. SmackDown will not win both matches, and since I went with Nia Jax, I'm going with Gunther. And if Tiffany did insert herself, I think it would be after the match is over, so the crown jewel belt wouldn't even be a factor in that because it would be post match where she would come out there and cash in, if that even happens. So Matthew, I'll go over to you now with your thoughts on this match. I mean, and here's something too to discuss. What about Goldberg? Does Bill Goldberg
I was going to mention that, yeah.
The only problem with that is with all these wrestlers flying to Saudi Arabia, it's going to be hard for somebody to travel in secrecy. If you know Goldberg is in Saudi Arabia, it just gives away the finish of the match. So I'm going to lean towards no on that one, just because it would be hard to keep that a surprise. Matthew, what do you think?
I'm a little on the fence on this one. I think overall the match is going to be good, but I see two different outcomes. Either A, KO costs Cody, or Gunther is going to get screwed over by Goldberg. I just don't know which one WWE is going to do. They love to have Goldberg show up in Saudi, which, that's always a thing. So that's why I'm a little nervous there, but I want to see Gunther win. I do also think it's funny, and I don't think any of us really thought about that until just a minute ago. If Gunther wins and Nia wins, this will be they will have both won twice in a row in Saudi. Because remember, they are the king and queen of the ring, which was in Saudi as well. So I just thought of that. I don't know if that's going to change predictions or not, but that could be a big outcome as well. But yeah, there's going to be some sort of shenanigans. I'm kind of going with my heart on this one, and Gunther retains, but I'm not sure. I mean, I could see it going either way. That KO could show up and cost Cody, or Goldberg could cost Gunther, but I want to say Gunther wins.
Now, has Kevin Owens been in a Saudi Arabia show? My memory is foggy. Has he done any of the Saudi Arabia shows? Because I know for a while he wasn't, but then Sami Zayn started doing them.
I
Anybody remember?
No.
All right. Well, somebody let me know in the chat room because my memory is foggy. That could be a factor too. Although I'm wondering what's going on with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, because it was teased. Randy Orton challenged Kevin Owens, and Nick Aldis said that match cannot happen, and this is a decision above me, implying that Triple H is making the call. So they're probably going to do something with that. So it's hard to say because we don't know what's going on with that storyline. So this guy, I'll throw it over to you now and get your thoughts on this. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh man, so this is tough. Man, Matthew just threw me out with that fact.
Oh, here we go. So yes, Owens and Sami Zayn defended the tag team titles.
Yeah, against Roman and Solo, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I guess I'll just go with Gunther in this situation because he's been dominant, but we all know when it comes to WWE, only one of the world championships is the main championship, and that's the one that Cody's holding. So they got to give Gunther something to do. And gosh, I really hate the fact that Goldberg is still looming like a freaking Money in the Bank cash, and that's oh gosh. Anyway, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna book Goldberg to interfere like that because he's supposed to be a face. So that wouldn't make any sense now, unless Goldberg goes there as another, obviously, audience member, and then they I guess Gunther goes outside to antagonize Goldberg. Then that's like, oh yeah, well you antagonize me, I'm gonna beat you up or whatever. Then that's the only way they're gonna do that. But Gunther needs this, and I really don't know who he's gonna face in the next couple of months. But yeah, and then. Stupid question. Would anybody be able to use the Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in on these Saudi Arabia championships, or even the Australia one, the world's greatest Royal Rumble championship that we don't see anymore, that people forgot about? Oh man. But anyway, just
so from what I understand, they aren't going to. And it could be it was just a rumor. It's not confirmed until after the show. But from what I understand, they're not going to mention it at all after the show. It's going to be for the show, for the people in attendance or whatever. But that's from what I understand. I had seen something posted about they're just going to kind of ignore it moving forward.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it's going to be. It's just the prop for the Saudi Arabia government, basically.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Gino, we'll go over to you now with your predictions. Okay,
perfect. So first of all, I want to say you guys gave me a lot to think about in the time it took to get to me answering. First thing you said, Aaron, you mentioned the Undisputed Championship. Well, if Cody doesn't win, then his championship is very much disputed at the very least. So I feel like Cody has to come out on top, however it happens. Otherwise, I think it's dumb to continue to call it the Undisputed. I'm not that you're dumb, that they are calling it that. It's once they had the World Heavyweight Championship, and once Roman Reigns lost it, because that's part of Paul Heyman's shtick and all this stuff. Oh, the Undisputed, blah 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 blah. But I think should just be the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. No more Undisputed, because it's literally the word is contradicting itself in the whole storyline. You mentioning, Matt, that SmackDown won, or that SmackDown wins both. It's a problematic that they both won, or that Gunther and Nia won King and Queen of the Ring the last time at Saudi Arabia. There's a lot to think about with that too. There's definitely going to be some type of interference. I think we're all, for the most part, thinking that it's not going to go smooth and clean. We mentioned Goldberg, like almost like why, but like Gunther insulted his son, right? And usually when you go after a man's family, like he already wasn't standing for it there in Atlanta. Obviously, it could have just been something for the show, for the house crowd to, get behind. But, I don't know if there's something against a face coming to interfere against a heel to help a face. But I could see why that would feel like not a very face thing to do. But it's not like he's with the company full time, and we probably won't see him again unless it leads to a match against Goldberg, which I don't see why he would interfere if it wouldn't at least lead to one more match against Gunther. So Gunther can be like the one who's got a lot of wins versus the original like undefeated streak guy. It's just it's got to be Cody, just for the undisputed reason. If Gunther wins, which I don't think Gunther should be losing, like you've said in the past, Aaron, neither of these guys should really be taking an L unless it's to put somebody over for the championship. It's got to be Cody. If Kevin Owens and Randy Orton match gets booked for the show, Kevin Owens being in Saudi Arabia won't be like, he's just going to come interfere. Like AJ Styles flew halfway across the world just to come cost LA Knight a title. No, it could be more organic. But I also at the same time don't feel that if they were on the show, like it almost feels like if Kevin has his own match to worry about, maybe he doesn't get involved. So I could see maybe even both of them getting involved. Like I'm torn, but I think it's all said and done, Cody's going to come out as the winner.
Interesting. Well, another reason I don't think Goldberg's appearing is, my guess is Survivor Series, it's Gunther versus CM Punk. So why would they have Goldberg interfere if CM Punk is Gunther's next opponent? It just doesn't make sense to me, because the heat would be Goldberg versus Gunther. So I don't think Gunther is showing up at this pay-per-view. And like I said, it would be difficult to sneak him into the country and get him there without being spotted. So I'm going to say no Goldberg. And I think it's interesting you picked Cody, but my feeling is Kevin Owens will get involved. Now, speaking of Kevin Owens, any bonus match thoughts? Like what will be the 4th and 5th matches? I mean, I think Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens is a possibility, unless they slow play it and save it for Survivor Series. But what else? I mean, Mr. Anderson sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for that. Says Roman Reigns at Big Jim, Jimmy Uso versus Solo and Jacob Fatu at Crown Jewel. I mean, that's an idea. They could do another tag match, even though it's very similar to what we saw with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. But yeah, you would think Roman Reigns would have a match on this show, right? Like it's Saudi Arabia. Like Roman's been on pretty much every Saudi Arabia card. So before we wrap this up, any final thoughts on what we might get added to the card? So there's 5 matches. They always do 5 matches. There's only 3 right now. Clearly, they're going to be adding more. Do they add another women's match, 2 women's matches and 3 men's matches? If so, what do we add? Anybody got an idea, something, Gene?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a tag team title match. Was it going to be the men? Maybe. Is it going to be the women? It's probably going to be the women. I think that Jade and Bianca, they're the champions, and they've actually been feuding with their challengers, right? They've got this whole thing going with Isla Dawn, and then you've got the girls from NXT that are kind of coming up. I think that there's going to be something in line with that, whereas the men's tag team titles, the champions aren't really involved in the storyline. They're just the final boss, of the tag team tournament. So I think that, they'll get another match which then gets 4 extra women on the card, more progressive for, the country that they're in, and WWE trying to push that as their equals. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. And I would like to see Jade trying to show out in front of I just really like what Jade has to offer. So I think it would be a shame to not have her on the card. As far as Roman, if you put him on the card, I think he needs to be there. But like you said, it's basically a copycat tag team match. And then it's, okay, well, what do you do for Survivor? You're just adding more people and you throwing Jimmy to the side for Jay automatically, or it's just like, I don't know. It feels like they kind of booked themselves into a corner with that. I feel like Roman has to appear in some capacity. I don't know. It's just one of these things where we don't know what's going to happen, so it's fun to be able to predict the matches versus predict the outcome. So
yes,
it's a
that's
lot of
what
fun.
we're doing here. All right, this guy. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. So, and when they first announced these, when Triple H like, oh, these belts we're gonna do, blah blah blah. I started thinking like, isn't this like what they used to do for like this past like decade of the brand supremacy thing? Why are they putting it on the Saudi show? And I know the last handful of years we've been getting the War Games stipulation, which I think this should be the last year for a couple of years because I don't want WWE to go back to the same nonsense where they're like Hell in a Cell, Hell in a Cell, and Hell in a Cell, Hell in a Cell, like every flipping year. TLC,
Right.
TLC, like that. Like, to stop burying things into the ground. So, like I said, if this is the last, and again, the Bloodline storyline for the last handful of years made sense to have it in that stipulation. After this year, I don't think they're going to have enough juice to put it in in that stipulation anymore. But anyway, that being said, they might as well just do the whole brand supremacy thing on the show to let War Games be by itself for Survivor Series. I mean, yes, have it survival, and you can have at least one Survival Series match between SmackDown v Raw or even NXT v SmackDown versus Raw, whatever, blah, blah. I still, that was in 2019, which I had missed that pay-per-view, and I never went back to watch it. But anywho, I think LA Knight, the new, sorry, Jay, IC champion Braun Breaker should be on this card. I doubt they would do it, but it should be on this card. And for some reason, have anybody noticed that like the tag titles, at least for the men's side, hasn't really been showcased on any of these pay-per-views this year?
No, this would
Like,
be a good chance. Like, I'd love to
that's
see Tongas versus Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So that also could be on here too. But yeah, I mean, I think, but same as Gino, like they might even it out, like have two female matches versus and the rest are the men's matches. So I would like to see LA Knight versus Braun Breaker, but that's a situation there too. Like you don't want any of them to lose. Like Braun Breaker just got it back. LA Knight, I don't think he defended his title last one's pay per view, if I'm not mistaken. Like, did he get the night off? I don't remember him having.
He's mostly been defending on SmackDown.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, he could take the L. I mean, it'd just be a good match. The clash of styles, like brawler versus brawler. But Breaker has a collegiate skill brawler versus a regular brawler. But yeah, that's what I'm going with. Just those two in like a random match.
All right, Matthew, any final thoughts or predictions for possible matches?
There's a couple different matches. Again, I agree. We could see KO and Orton. They've got to do something with Roman. So, again, it could be Roman and Jimmy versus the Tongans, or maybe it is. I don't think they would do Roman and Jacob Fatu on pay-per-view, but maybe it's Roman versus one of the Tongans. The women's tag team is interesting because I think right now they're building almost towards a fatal four-way between Damage Control, Chelsea and Piper, and Metaphor. So I don't know if they would do four women's tag teams in Saudi. I kind of feel that would almost be a Survivor Series match, but again, they could. And yeah, I kind of agree. I'd love to see Motor City Machine versus, because obviously I think they're going to beat DIY Sunday, so I'd love to see them versus the Tongans. And then there's also the rumor that I guess Shinsuke Nakamura is supposed to come back, and I'd love to see him be built up against LA Knight and have that match at Crown Jewel as well. But really, I guess there's all these matches, but I guess until we know more, Friday and next Monday, it's kind of, we're all just guessing, but I mean, those are all my kind of ideas. I know we're not going to get all those cards, but yeah, definitely we should see at least Orton and KO, and Roman's got to be there somehow. I just don't know how.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens at WWE Crown Jewel and on SmackDown this week, leading into Crown Jewel. They're taping two shows. The second show will be the Go Home SmackDown. So we'll have a clear idea of where this card is going by the end of Friday night. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to the panel. Thank you to the live chat for participating tonight. Let's go ahead and do the plugs before we head out. This guy, will start with you. Thanks again for being on. Much appreciated.
Muted.
Thank you for bringing me back. Sorry. Before I get into the non-plugs, I have a weird question. Where is Omos? Like, is he even still with WWE? Is he in NXT now? Like, that guy has. I think he was on one Saudi show, and like shit, missing. Like, I just
it broke up when you said the person's name, so I didn't hear who you were asking.
Sorry. Omos is Omos still with WWE, or did they like cut him?
He's still under contract.
Because he just disappeared. I don't know, but shoot, if I only had it. The only thing I got to plug is my wife's crochet gig. Crochet with Heather. Find her on Facebook. I think she is an IG, but I'm not 100% sure. It's probably under the same name. But I mean, I'm not a social media nut, so that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you, this guy. And Jeff, I know you've been in the chat room. You got to get a graphic for this guy Experience. He needs a graphic for his plug. So maybe you guys can message each other and get something set up so we have a graphic for this guy on the next time that he's on a stream. Gino, I know we got one for you. So let me go ahead and throw that one up. There you go. Go ahead with your plugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for having me, guys. I do a little bit of wrestling talk, not too much. I do some live stream gaming and stuff. If you guys are interested in any of that, come check me out on YouTube, Papagino0017. As always, I'm honored to be here. I'm very happy to talk with you guys about how awesome wrestling is and to have a group of people that we can share in a great community that Aaron and the No DQ Galaxy have fostered here, and it's just an honor to be a part of, and I'm so happy to be here and to see all you guys and to talk wrestling with you guys. So let's keep it going.
All right. Do you have a Facebook, this guy? Because Jeff wants you to contact him.
Muted.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. Yes. I was getting back to Jeff on the comments in the chat. Like once we're done, I'm gonna find him on Facebook and IM him.
All right, sounds good. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, my God, throw me back.
I say that for work, so I'm sorry.
I love it.
Man, that was the thing. AOL Instant Messenger was how people went back and forth like before MySpace got going.
Now all messages are instant, so you have to discern between the difference.
Yeah. I remember having that. I remember having a Yahoo Instant Messenger, ICQ.
Oh yeah, that goes way back.
Dang.
I know. Right. I need my applesauce in my walker now.
Somebody put Grandpa out of bed, right?
Hey, that's our bedtime here. Matthew, what do you got for us?
Nothing really to plug, but again, always a pleasure to be on. I appreciate being a part of this. I'm thankful for the no DQ Galaxy. What you do, what Jeff and the Simply Predicting group does, and all of them, Walter, JJ, everybody involved. And, it's just, you guys are the best wrestling community that I think I've ever been involved with. And I appreciate it. Check out NoDQ.com. You'll see my comments there. I'm always willing to have a good conversation with most people. And, I'm excited. Trolls. Yeah, there are trolls. And yes, of course, the watch-alongs. As Jeff just put, they just did a Halloween karaoke. Aaron, Noah's good. They're going to be doing watch-alongs for Bound for Glory, Halloween Havoc. Of course, you're going to be at Halloween or Bound for Glory, so I hope you have a great time. We believe. But, just that, I appreciate to be part of this little family.
We appreciate you. Thank you for everything. And just stay tuned to NoDQ.com and follow Noah Foster and all of them with their projects. They do their watch-alongs and such. I'll be seeing Noah this weekend for Bound for Glory. That'll be fun to catch up with him. N Foster 1916 is his handle on Twitter, and he's in charge of the Predictions League. So make sure you guys follow him and join the Predictions League. I believe Gino will be joining for the new year. You know, we're close to the end here, so there's really no point in starting if you want to try to win it, but you could just for fun. If you want to get in for the new year, make sure you follow Noah at nfoster1916 on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, have a great night, everyone. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and we will see you all next time.